What is good, everyone? This is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcast. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, bring you incredible guests from all over the world, so sit back, relax, and tune in. Excuse me, my next guest is a psychic, an intuitive healer, focusing on spiritual wellness. So this is going to be a good one, guys, so stay tuned in. Please welcome C. C, welcome to the show.
Hi, Deanna. Thank you so much for having me here. It's such an honor to be here.
Thank you for being here. I just had a drink and it's like stuck in my throat.
It happens.
So I'm super pumped. You are probably the third psychic I've had on the show. And what I love when I'm talking to you guys is that the impression or labels that society has on your gifts is very negative. So first, I always like to start off with, how did you know you were psychic and what got you into doing what you're doing now?
Oh, gosh. Good question. I always make jokes to people. I'm like, if you think I could have picked anything else, don't you think I would have done it? Like, who wants to do this, But it's kind of been with me since birth. I think probably when you talk with a lot of intuitives, and again, I really want to stress this. We all have this.
Yes, I'm intuitive.
This is it. Everybody has it. And I always tell people, I don't do anything magical. I'm basically just a mirror. And what I'm able to do is help you recognize that intuition within yourself. But like everyone else, some people are born with certain talents that others maybe develop a little bit later. And so for me, I kind of had it growing up where I would actually be more clear audio or instead of, clairvoyant in the sense that I would hear things. And they just kind of came across like murmurs. You're a kid. You have no idea what's going on. And then I remember kind of for friends and or my family, I would just say stuff. And then it turned out that ended up happening, right?
Yeah.
Kid, again, you're talking, you have no idea, right? Yeah. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. And then everyone said to me, see, you have to get a website, you have to start reading. And I went, oh, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Stigma is around it, like you mentioned. But I kind of just said, okay, universe, is this the way you want me to go? You obviously don't want me to be an accountant, so if that's what it's going to be, let's do it. So I started doing that many, many years ago now. Oh, gosh, I think I'm over 20, believe it or not, that I've been doing this. And it's just kind of, again, it's just so
over 20 years?
So blessed. Yeah, I've been doing it for a while.
Holy cow. Yeah. You look incredibly young.
You are a blessing. So, yeah, but it's been really interesting. And now, I just have to say, I feel blessed. I read for people all over the world. And for me, the highlight is just, being able to get the emails back. I just had one from a client today I was reading saying, see, I had a reading with you. You said this. I really didn't want to believe it. And I was mad during the reading. But afterwards, I want to say all that kind of came to fruition. So thank you so much for giving me that information. So that's kind of what I live for. So that's what I'm kind of doing and seeing how it goes.
Yeah. Well, for 20 years, I think and just to allow yourself to flow with what the gifts that you have in your life is that actually absolutely beautiful. Because I think a lot of people put up resistance to the gifts that they have, especially at a very, not at a young age, but as they start approaching adulthood and like how we're programmed and how we're expected to be. And you just flowed with it. How amazing is that?
It's so funny that you say that because I have it on readings where I'll talk to somebody and I'll say to them, your career, I feel that you're doing this. Are you doing this? And the person will say, no, but I always wanted to do that. And I said, why the fuck are we doing that? And it's exactly what you talk about. It's that non, not flowing with it. And I always make jokes with clients. If it's in your sphere, you're meant to hear. So if the universe is bringing it to you, like I always say, nowhere has the universe ever said, see, be an accountant. It's never happened because I will be the worst accountant in the world. So if you're hearing it, if there's things pulling you towards it, best to give in because you're not going to go away.
And being a psychic and an intuitive is not I think for you in your last 20 years, and you tell people what you do, I'm sure you've had great responses and you've had negative responses. Yeah. I just kind of want to talk about the negative responses really quick. And de-stigmatize that, since this is about label free, because I know that I've heard it, oh, you don't want to talk to a psychic. That's evil. That's wrong, and as a woman that is pretty intuitive myself, that it's if you have someone that's more tapped into that energy, I don't see how that could be evil.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think the whole thing about what a psychic actually does needs to be broken down because, whenever you hear psychic, you think the crystal ball and I'm telling you, I see a man over here.
He ghost. Whoopi Goldberg.
Right. This is what everyone thinks about, and I don't think it's like that. I don't think the people that were actually doing this to help, I don't think it was actually like that before either. But the good news is with technology, with the reasons and the ways that we can reach so many people, I think we're seeing that label kind of change. And kind of like what you mentioned, it's about spiritual wellness. So I always tell people, I'm not going to tell your future. That's not what I do, to be honest with you. What I can do is say, hey, this is what I see coming up. Now you have to do your work. I always make jokes to my clients. If I tell you you're going to go out and meet a man and you sit at home and then you call me and you say, see, I'm supposed to meet this man. And I say, well, did you leave your apartment? And you say no, then okay, well, you didn't do the work, So I think the whole thing with the stigma, and we all get it, right? You're going to get people emailing or saying certain things because they understand it from their perspective, which is totally understood. But I think what I'm trying to do, and I think what a lot of us are trying to do, is exactly what you said. We're not here to tell you what to do. We're here to help you trust your own intuition, because every time I do a call with a client, nothing is surprising. There's not anything that a client says that goes, oh my gosh, see, it shocked me. It's always, yeah, see, I kind of felt that, or I was sort of thinking that too. You just confirmed it, So it's just really what I say is, if a crazy psychic lady on the other side of the world that you've never met and knows nothing about you can think that or pick up that information, that's got to show you there's something there,
Sure.
That's what I always kind of tell people with that in terms of how they want to view it. But again, we're all intuitive, exactly like what you said. And I think it's just more in terms of how much you want to kind of develop that talent, or you want to go a different way. And I don't think, to be honest, there's a right or wrong. I don't think there is a right or wrong. It's just a matter of what works for you in this time period that we're in right now.
I think, but people like you, because you've allowed it just to flow into your life, it is allows you to be more connected. Whereas people like, I'll say myself or someone else on the street that does something like a little bit more mainstream, there's so much resistance there that we don't listen. So I'm going to tell you, I like the last couple psychics I've talked to on the show, I've said this, and like I still am trying to understand what it means, but I'm going to tell you, I see repeating numbers all the time. All the time. And I've never in my life until probably the last 9 months to almost a year. And I'm just like, I'm open. I'm like, okay, whatever. What is this? Please talk to me. And it's just non-stop. And I don't even try. I'll look at the clock, 222.
Yeah.
Look at the clock, 555.
Yeah.
And it's so often that I can't ignore it, right? So for me, I'm just like, what does this mean for me?
Yeah.
So anybody's listening or watching, you guys, if this is something that's happening to you, there's like something that's calling to you, right?
Yeah. No, you have it exactly. I get the question, gosh, at least once every 2 days.
Oh, really?
Readings. Yeah, a lot of people have that question, and I get it because we have this idea of spiritual numbers, angel numbers, however you want to call it. I personally don't think there's a one size fits all. So sometimes I have a client that will come to me and say, see, I read that, 1111 means this, and I'm saying it all the time, but it's not relating with me or my situation. Why is that? And then we go into it for them. But for me, what I always say, like for yourself, Deanna, I would say, when are you seeing those numbers? What's going on around you during that time? And what are you feeling? And that's going to be the catalyst to really figure it out. Because when they're trying to show you something, how can they do this, right? It's collective consciousness. It's thought. That's the only way that you're going to be able to sort of receive this information. So if it takes seeing numbers, if it takes seeing the same sign over and over again, if it takes bumping into the same person over and over again. I had a client say, see, I don't know this man, but I keep bumping into him at the grocery store and we're going at different times. So what's happening there? Yeah. So there's obviously a message there that, if you're open to receiving, but I always say, look at what's happening when it's happening and look at the thoughts and feelings you're having at the time that it's happening.
I like that. I'm going to pay more attention to that.
Yeah.
What do usually people come to you for? Like,
No,
what kind of direction do they look for? What's a common one, I guess?
love and money.
Love and money.
Love. Everyone wants money, and I
Yeah.
get it. Love is number one. Love is it's so complex, and there's so many different situations. And I always, when clients come to me, I say, like, my job is not to judge a situation. My job is to help my client. So what are you feeling? What are you having happen in this experience with you? And what can we do to move you positively forward? Right.
Yeah.
So that's really what I try and do with my clients. And again, a lot of it is, and you've had some clients that talk about this, it's mindset.
Yeah.
There's so many times where, my clients make a joke and call me the no-nonsense psychic because I don't sugarcoat things,
I like it, though. I like your personality.
Right? And hard. And sometimes I'll have it with a client where I'm kind of going hard on them saying, no, the problem is you keep wanting to do the same thing over and you're telling me to give you a different result. It's not going to happen until we do something different.
It's called insanity.
That's it. Then I tell them all the time, so this is really what people are kind of really wanting to know. But in my experience, what I find kind of funny is 9 times out of 10, the question that they're asking isn't really what they want the answer to. There's something else behind the door of that. And in the readings that I do with my clients, that's really what we delve into. So there's so many times where they'll come. And when I do my full or my online readings, I don't want to know anything about my clients. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to know any information. I don't even want you to give me questions. We just start I open up the doors immediately, what spirit wants to bring through. That's the most important information. Okay. And then we can answer questions if those things aren't addressed during that first portion, But I always tell clients that, when you come for one thing, chances are there's something behind the curtain that really needs to be addressed to actually be able to address that first thing that you really came for.
Yeah. Well, and so I understand the love part. Like, I think people have a lot of blocks towards that. But the money part, because I'm sure everybody that's listening or watching, you guys, this is probably you both have these, I could guarantee one or the other in your mind. So when it comes to money, like, what is happening there? We know love, people are usually blocked to that, or they attract dysfunctional relationships because they haven't healed themselves, right? And it's a cycle until they fix that, right? Mm-hmm. But when it comes to money, I know that there can be blocks around money as well.
Yeah. That's the whole thing. It's around the block around money. And it's usually the stories that we tell ourselves. We all know this. It's no secret. And a lot of times when clients come to me, it's not even really about, hey, see, how do I make X amount more dollars? It's more that they're just lost in general, and a lot of times they ask the question like, see, what should I be doing to make more money? Because we all know that career or what you're passionate about, that's a mighty channel for work, and when you do that work, that's a mighty channel to make money, So I think that's what people really, when they come for money questions, and that's sort of hinting to what I talked about before, they're not wanting to know about money, because I've had it with a client where they're like, see, I want more money. I say, great. How much do you want? And they're like, I don't know. I said, oh, so the question isn't I want more money. The question is, how do I have the lifestyle that I'm not really sure I should be having or that I want to have, and what do I need to finance that? So money, it's more about, again, it's very much of the time it's blockages, or it's kind of like what we touched upon when we first started talking. It's the idea of not flowing with what the universe presents to you. And I can't tell you how many times it's so funny where I'll talk with a client, I'll say, but you're talking about, this job that you want. I'm seeing this opportunity. Did you get this? And they'll say, oh yeah, I got called for that job, but I don't want it. It's not the job that I'm looking for. It's not my dream job. I said, yeah, but that could be the stepping stone.
Right.
Why are you telling the universe, no, when you're waiting for this one thing and the universe is saying, okay, this is how you get there. So a lot of times it's people kind of not realizing that they might be stepping in their own way to stop themselves and prevent themselves from actually being able to accumulate the money, not that they want, but that they really need for the lifestyle or the experience that they want to have on this planet.
You're almost like a coach a little bit.
I guess so. Some people have said that to me. I do a little bit of life coaching. Again, I'm not professional, not a therapist. I tell everybody crazy psychic lady here, but I find some people kind of come just to have that different perspective, just a different way. Yeah.
No, because I feel like that you're just like, they come to you, ask you the question, you kind of tell them like what's up, but then you kind of coach them through what they really need to see that you're seeing.
Yeah, I kind of make a joke that all my readings come with a lot of homework. So
That's not a
I
bad
give
thing,
you
though.
homework, and you better do it before you come back for my next reading.
So I always like to hear a success story. So somebody, I mean, no names, obviously. Maybe
Yeah.
they came to you about something, love or money. Let's do one or the other because I'm sure that's what everyone that's listening is thinking of.
I'm so blessed. I have, and I don't know if it's success. I always make jokes to people like, I don't do anything. Again, I'm the telephone that just hears what's out there.
Right.
I'm the ventriloquist dummy that just is, with the hand up the butt. I say that sometimes I say my only difference between what I do and what someone else can do is we can be in a room full of people and it's crowded and I'm just able to hear the one voice in the back of the room.
Wow.
So when clients kind of come in and they send me emails and they'll say, oh, see, thank you for this or thank you for that. I always have to come back and say, guys, not doing nothing. I wish it was me, but I get so many emails. With love, it's a lot of the time letting go. So a lot of the time clients will say, see, I'm really was stuck on this person or my ex, or I had a really tough time kind of moving forward. You saw somebody else coming for me, but you couldn't tell me when, or when you told me they were coming in, I wasn't ready. So they kept not showing up. Finally, I let go of this person. And then boom, that person you described showed up to a T. So I get that a lot. And again, people always say, oh, see, when is it going to happen? They want the time, the date, the minute, the second. And I always say, it happens when you're ready, So I've had it with clients where they'll ask me for a timeline and I read seasonally. So when I read, it's either going to show up like summer months or winter months. And where I am, I have 4 seasons. So it shows up in one of those months that I then can categorize in, seasonally what the month is going to be. And I had it with a client that, she messaged me and she said, see, you saw this gentleman coming for me. You said in this month and this year, and it didn't happen. It's 2 years later. Now they showed up in that month. But during that time, I went back to my ex, back and forth, so I can see why they couldn't come through, So again, I think it's one of these things that when you're ready and you have that information, it's just like I tell people, just if you want to listen. If you want to listen and do the work, you'll get there.
Do you hear things with anyone? So if you're walking in the grocery store, do you pass by someone and have a strong feeling or whatever you say, that voice in the back of the room?
No, I shut that down because it gets annoying.
Oh.
Personally, I don't walk by cemeteries or anything like that because you do start feeling energy. I used to just be a magnet and I heard everything. I remember being on the bus once and I just kept getting this image of an orange cat by a windowsill and I didn't know why. And I just turned to the lady next to me and I was like, this is going to sound nuts. Do you have an orange cat? Because I'm seeing an orange cat sitting by a windowsill. And she had said to me, my cat just passed a week ago. And then I was like, oh. So after that, I said, oh, I don't know if I want to be this open tuner for everything coming through, and you don't want to be going to bed and have someone talking to you being like, shut up, I got to get some sleep.
For sure.
So I've been able to hone it to the sense of I almost kind of turn it on when I'm doing my readings with clients. And then I have a process that I kind of complete the reading, I do a cleansing, and then I kind of shut it down for the night, so I can get some rest.
Almost like being an empath and being feeling other people's emotions. Because I'm an empath and I have a hard time with it. I don't know how to shut that off. I don't, and it's it really affects me. It'll if my husband's in a really bad mood and I told him, I said, you have to learn how to communicate a little bit better with me because it just destroys me for a day. And so I would love to know how you turn those.
Yeah, I have a lot of empath information on my website there, and I've written some stuff about it, and I have a podcast too, because a lot of intuitives, we're empaths, and
okay. All right. Well, there you go.
We're all empaths, and I like to make a joke that it's almost like we're walking around with an exposed wound.
Yeah.
And if someone pokes at it or puts a little bit of sand, you're done,
Yeah.
The best thing that I tell my empaths is, it sounds simple, but it is the best thing. Get out in nature.
Yeah.
Get out in nature because that almost heals. It heals everybody, but especially empaths. It really heals that because you can't control or change someone else. That's what I always tell people. But you can change and control yourself.
Yeah.
Those actions then can control and change the energy of the situation, which then can change somebody else.
Yeah.
So that's what I think you're kind of looking.
Okay. Good.
That. Random note for you, but you got to drink more water. I know that's probably very generic, but you don't drink enough water. And that actually affects with the empath energy.
Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you for that. I didn't even know I was an empath until later on in life. Like probably the last couple of years, I was realizing like, holy cow, I get really triggered because of this, just because I'm becoming more, and this is not about me, this is about you, but I think it's important for people to listen, like I was like, I just realize more now, like that's what I am. And that's probably why I've reacted the way I've reacted in the past when I was young and dumb and didn't know anything. But now that I'm more like open and I'm more flowing with life, that it's like, I'm like, holy crap, like I get very triggered when this happens. And like,
yeah.
Anyways, so if someone's scared, if they are listening right now and they're loving your energy, they're loving your just like your straightforward attitude and personality, and they are considering, like reaching out because maybe they're struggling with love, money, whatever, identity, something, and they want to like they're afraid, what would you tell them?
I get a lot of virgins. I don't know why, but I always make jokes that all the virgins tend to come over. And I said, I don't know if I'm the best start for the virgins because again, I'm not fluffy, so, but I always say that if you're thinking about doing a reading, I'm not going to see anything that I shouldn't see or that you don't want me to see. So I've had it with clients where we're doing a reading and I'll get something and I'll say, I don't understand why they're showing me this. Do you get this? And they go, I know exactly what that is. And I'm like, awesome, let's move forward. So nothing that isn't supposed to come through, it's not going to come through, right? So you won't have to worry about that. And again, with readings, or at least with the readings that I do, I'm really looking to provide, positive information that'll help you move forward in a positive way, So the readings are really focused on actions. They're focused on things that you can do in terms of what you have control over.
Yeah, like you're a coach.
I guess so, I guess it's using that information, because otherwise,
say here's the information and leave it at that. But you're like actually giving people like calls to action to get to the end result.
Right? Yeah, because I think everyone forgets we have free will.
Yeah,
so a lot of people say, "Oh, I get a lot of times a client will message me, and this one kills me," where they'll say, "See, I went to a psychic and they told me that I have a curse on me and I need to pay $1,000 to remove it. What do you say?" And I said, "Absolutely not. Don't give anybody any money. There's no curse. I will be one. I don't believe in these curses. I believe that there is mental manipulation. And I think that if someone tells you your curse and you put that in the back of your mind, even subconsciously, sure, we can now piece together information that's going to make that story fit, Yeah. But I think at the end of the day with psychic readings, it's not just about, hey, this is what's going to happen to you. It's more in terms of these are things that can be for you. But to get there, we need to do these things, and then we can get there.
Amazing. I love it. Where can people find you, connect with you, and learn more about potentially get a reading with you, C?
You could just go to my website. It's www.c, just the letter C, at cpsychicreadings.com. And I have stuff up there you can read and take a look. And I just hope it helps and heals anyone out there that goes there.
Hopes and heals. I love that. You guys, I'm going to put her website in the show notes. So if you connected with her and want to learn more and just venture out and see, like, working with her, go click the link, go schedule a call, right? That's all they got to do, schedule a call or send an email.
Send an email. Easy.
Yeah. And then let me know how it goes because I'm sure it's going to go great. See, this is the part of the show where I like to ask for last words of wisdom or advice. What would you like to leave with us today?
I said it before, but I'll say it again. If it's in your sphere, you're meant to hear. So nothing that comes towards you is not meant for you. The question is, are you going to listen to it and say, okay, what can I get from this, learn from this? What's the opportunity in this?
Yeah.
So if you can operate from that, you'll work and do things in a lot more of a positive light than say sitting and focusing on things you don't have any control over.
Yeah. Well, that's the worst because it's like manifesting the opposite of what you want. Right. But love it. I love your no nonsense attitude and just like your personality and like, let's do it. You got to do the work. But here's what I see. Like, it's so good. Like, it's so refreshing. And I think you actually are helping take that stigma away from what people think psychics are. So thank you so much for sharing your story and your gifts. I've absolutely loved it and appreciate you being here on the show.
Thank you so much, Deanna. I really appreciate you having me on.
You're welcome. You guys, this is your host, Deanna Radulescu with Label Free Podcasts. To live your best life, you must live label free. As always, don't forget to subscribe, follow, rate, review, comment, share, all those good things. And I'll be back soon with more dynamic guests.